and talk about numbers and numerology and understanding how numbers work in the universe, and maybe doing a little investigation into what yours mean in regards to your name frequency, your karmic energy, and in reference to your dharmic energy, which is life purpose. And we're going to work a lot out of this book, The Life You Were Born to Live by Dan Millman. It's a really, really excellent book on numerology. And you're going to be so surprised when you start looking at numbers, how completely they tell a story. But before we get started, I just wanted to talk to you about some events coming up because we've added a few. Most importantly, we've added May 4th, which is here at the Empowered Living Center, which will be a fling into spring night of readings. And since you are the angels, you get first crack at tickets. So jump on the website tomorrow and you can get some tickets. And if not, if it's not put up there yet, I think they're working on it today, but please then just call Izzy, because you know seats are very limited. And then Wednesday, April 19th, I'm going to be at Storm Wisdom, and you are all coming with me. We are going to film at Storm Wisdom, and actually, Storm Wisdom is going to open their doors so that we can actually have a live audience. So there'll be about 30 chairs there, and you can call Storm Wisdom. I don't have that number, Billy. You can call Storm Wisdom in order to get your tickets, and I'm going to be talking to Charles McAlpin about his journey in spirituality and how the store came to be, and all of his different he's a wonderful writer, and he does different activities in the store, and so he's going to be sharing that with us. And Billy's going to get us the phone number in just a second. April 27th, 28th, and 29th, I'm going to be in Las Vegas. If you know anybody in Las Vegas, please have them call Izzy for an appointment. That number for Storm Wisdom is 602-334-1204. That's April 19th. Actually, that's my son's 44th birthday. Isn't that interesting? We're going to do Angels 444 on my son's 44th birthday. And yes, I am far too young to be his mother, but I actually am. And that number again is 602-334-1204 to call Storm Wisdom if you want to actually come over to Storm Wisdom instead of watching through your computer. Again, Las Vegas, 27th, 28th, and 29th of April. June 22nd through July 2nd will be in the California area, not just LA, which we will be there for a couple days, but also Laguna and then San Diego. And I don't think we have very many spots left on that, but we have a few. September 11th through 16th, we're going to be in Minnesota. I'm really happy about this one because it's going to be near a lake, and I'm really happy about this one. On November 17th and 18th, of course, JVP, James Von Prague, and I will be doing it together again. And, we had such a good time. Billy just gave me a weird look. He's on the other side of the camera, but he's still here, you guys, so you may hear his voice. November 26th through December 3rd is the cruise to Grand Cayman and Jamaica, all in the Caribbean. So, for your phone calls tonight to talk about numbers, numerology, or any questions, you can call us at 602-875-0444. And I do know I have somebody waiting on the line, but before we get to the lines, I have an emailed question. Those of you who are just joining us tonight, you can call, but you can also email in advance because sometimes it's hard to get through the line, and I'll go back and forth between the emails and the phone. This person says, my mother has advanced Alzheimer's and hasn't known me for some time, but really stares when I visit and looks directly in my eyes and seems to get sad when I leave, speaks mostly unintelligible strings of words. I know Melinda's mom had Alzheimer's, and I'm wondering if she thinks my mom is connecting with me or our past in any way, or if there really isn't anything there. Whoa, that's an interesting, tough, and question that's hard to answer, but I'm going to do the best I can. We just did a workshop with Dr. Emil Faith on Sunday, and we were talking about the manifestation of thought process and how it works in the body. And even though we had a great morning of readings, we actually really helped some people understand where some of their health issues and where some of the emotional effects of those health issues came from. So I think Alzheimer's is about a checkout. I think that people who manifest Alzheimer's have kind of checked out of life before. So they're kind of checked out anyway. but I believe that there's a piece or a part of the soul frequency, or still the soul, that kind of goes in and out with the Alzheimer's person. As we know, there's no such thing as time. Time is only linear as we think of it, 0 to 10, but it's really circular in fashion. It's really circular in its energy. That's why when I do past life regressions or I do in-life regressions, you can feel the emotion of those regressions just as if you were there in present time. So I think Alzheimer's is caught in that circular time, and then they can go forward and backwards, forward and backwards, forward and backwards. So I do think there's recognition somewhere at a soul frequency, somewhere at an unconscious level still of loved ones, but I don't believe it's about struggling to let an awareness be seen or heard. I don't think it's like when someone has something that causes them to not be able to speak, but their thoughts are there. I think it really is some soul recognition, but not a sense of being trapped. I watched my mother pass from it. I think she moved through it with a sense of childlike energy, that she moved backwards in time. I saw her sometimes spiritually leave her body. There was some recognition towards the end. At times when she snapped, she couldn't speak any longer at all. I could, she'd snap her head back, and I'd see that like instantaneous, like eye-to-eye contact recognition. But what I want to say to you is that at some karmic level between your soul and your mother's soul, there's some kind of frequency of energy that she'll have a recognition of. And it doesn't matter whether it's conscious. It comes at a very unique place within your mother's energy field and yours. And there's something in the karmic profile where you would have had an agreement with her about this situation. And all you need to do is just know that when she gets to the other side and looks back on it, she'll know that you've been there, and she'll make that connection of what she was trying to make, connecting to you while she was working through her transition. So I think that's the best way I can answer that question. It's a tough one, though. I'm very sorry about that. It's tough to have a parent or anybody with Alzheimer's. It's just watching your loved one waste away bit by bit is very, very difficult, and it's a karma that's takes a lot of strength to get through, and you got to honor your strength and honor yourself, and honor that your mother's transition was this way for whatever her karmic profile was. So thank you for that question, and we have a caller on the line.
Yes, Joe.
Okay. Hi, Joe. How are you? Hello, Joe? Hello?
Yes, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How can I help you tonight, Joe?
Well, I thought you were doing the thing on numerology tonight.
I am doing the thing on numerology tonight for sure. Do you already have a question on numerology?
I'm sorry?
I said, do you have a question on numerology already?
I have no idea what numerology is, so I'm just along for the ride.
Very good. Do you have your computer on, Joe?
I do not. I'm on my cell phone.
Okay, so I'm going to have Billy give you a call and instruct you on how to get on your computer so you can actually see me and not just hear me, so that you'll be able to hear all the ins and outs of numerology tonight, okay?
Well, unfortunately, I'm at my neighbor's, and she doesn't have computer access.
Oh, okay. I don't know how we're going to do this, Billy. What do you want to do for Joe here?
Can I just listen in?
You can just listen in. You just listen in, okay? Okay,
Great.
Very good.
Great.
Thank you for calling, Joe. Hey, Joe?
Yes, ma'am.
There's really interesting energy around you. You've got a really intrinsic connection to spirituality, even though you don't know anything about numerology, yes?
I don't know.
Well, I think, people who are intrinsically spiritual live by the golden rule, and I think you're a man that has integrity. I think you do live by the golden rule. Would you assess yourself that way?
Well, yes, I do.
Okay, and I mean, it feels like when you shake somebody's hand, you mean what you say, and you say what you mean. Would that be accurate?
Oh, absolutely.
And there's someone around you, Joe, that had something with their hip or their leg or their knee or their lower back. Who is that? Is that you?
Well, that might be my neighbor Barbara.
And that's where you are. You're over at Barbara's house.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
so,
we're at Barbara's house right now because she's my neighbor, and again, she doesn't do the internet, so we thought we would do this on the phone. I didn't realize there was internet access.
No worries, Joe. Okay, so I'm going to start talking about numerology right now for you, okay? And for everybody.
Great.
Okay, very good. So the reason that we work with numerology is because it's actually a numbers universe, because Pythagorean and all of that kind of energy is all about understanding how numbers work and learning the difference between what our numbers are at a karmic level and what our numbers are at a dharmic level. Now, karma is what tells you what challenges are in life or your ups and downs, and part of what your process is, and dharma is about a purposeful energy. So when someone comes to see me for a reading, what I do is I do simple numerology, which really lets me kind of drop into the personality profile. But tonight we're going to do a little complicated numerology. And so if you have pieces of paper and pens, please make sure to dig them out, because you're going to want to write some alphabet stuff and that kind of thing as we talk about numerology, okay? So numerology is an ancient art form, and it started with the Chaldeans, the Egyptians, the Assyrians, the Babylonians, and the Greeks. And the Hindus and the Hebrews all developed numerological systems of their own. And part of what we're going to do is we're going to work with both the English alphabet and the Hebrew alphabet while we're doing this tonight, because actually Spirit thinks that Hebrew is the basic language of God, so to speak. So we're going to look at the Kabbalistic energy around the 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet, and the number 22 is significant as we move on. I'll tell you what that means in just a minute. So now the numerology incorporates the Pythagorean belief that all things can be expressed in numerical terms. So everything then in numerology gets reduced to a single number. Once you start doing this, so interestingly, what you will find is that you're looking at the numbers on your house, you're looking at the numbers on hotel rooms, you're looking at numbers of significance that kind of synchronizes things. So when I was looking at real estate, we were looking at the numbers on the house so that the vibrational frequency, the energy of the house would vibrate out to where we wanted it to be. So we're going to work with the basic numbers 1 through 9 plus 2 master numbers, 11 and 22. And when we're looking at the number 11, I want to go back to 9/11 and talk to you about the significance of that as world events unfolded, and maybe talk a little bit about even where we are in the now with it, okay? So the numbers. And by the way, everybody, this will get sent to you. So this will get sent out tomorrow, so you'll have it. But, I want to work with it with you tonight, and then we'll send it out, and then you can work some more tomorrow or whenever you have time. But the number 0 equals power or eternity. And when we're doing numerology, we don't really use the zeros, except that I'm sorry, guys, my throat is just a little dry tonight, so I got a big thing of iced tea here, sorry. We're not really going to use that 0 a lot when we're doing tonight's class, because it gets real complicated on multiplication and how that moves into the energy of God, and that would be more advanced. That would fill your head with so much stuff that we'll just try to simplify it tonight. Number 1 equals creator, God, new beginnings, oneness with God, and unity of life. Number 2 is balance of masculine and feminine energies, or balance in some area of living. So In other words, if you start seeing ones everywhere, then you have a God energy being thrown at you. You start seeing twos everywhere. It means that you need balance in some form or fashion. For those of you who were with me the last time I was with James von Prague, he talked about spirit often throwing coins at us. My father sends pennies all the time. And he said, pick it up and look at the numbers on the date, the numbers. And what we're going to do with numerology is we're going to add all the numbers down to a single digit. And so if one of those coins had a number 2 on it, I would think, well, I need to balance somewhere in my life. Remember when we talked before about the Merkaba energy, and I had drawn, a triangle upside down and one, on top of it, and it looks like the Star of David, and that's called the Merkaba, Merkabah. The Merkaba energy is about balancing feminine and masculine energy. We're not talking about gender. We're talking about energy, because a man can have female energy, a woman can have male energy. The male energy is the to-do energy. The female energy is the to-be energy. So when we were doing 7 major religions, we talked about Taoism and Confucianism, and the difference was a male-orientated energy and a female-orientated energy. Confucianism meaning the to-do, and Taoism meaning the to-be. So number 2s are important and about balancing those energies. That's what we're striving to do on the planet. We're striving through finding the purposefulness of who we are in our lives and how to manage our spirit housed in third dimensional frequency, a body which is what I call the suitcase, because it's really non-consequential. Real life is over on the other side, life after life. This is where our spirit gets contained in some form or fashion, in a way in which we have to filter through it emotions and other things for the spirit to grow. So we're trying to strive in this lifetime, in every lifetime, to work through those balanced energies. So 2 is significant in that regard. The number 3 is the Trinity energy. That's body, mind, and spirit, and harmony. Okay, and we again did a class with Dr. Faith on Sunday about balancing the body, mind, and spirit energy in order for us to find our way to health and wellness. There must be a balance between the thought process, the spirit, and the body in order for us to be well. And oftentimes the manifestation of illness can come from a thought process that was created long ago when we were children or in other aspects of our life. And the Trinity is also representation of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Now, interestingly, I had shared with you to go see the movie The Shack, because this movie is really a fabulous movie that shows spirituality in motion, karma, dharma. It's very moving, and it's kind of a tearjerker, and it really makes you stop and think. And we walked out of the movie, and there were several people who really didn't get it. We could hear them talking about it. And so it was very interesting how people didn't get it. But if you went to see it, you would get it, because your guys are working on spirituality. So 3 is about Trinity. 4 is about balance of energies, growing in perfect balance. Okay? So one of the reasons we picked out 444 for our angels was because we're trying to balance the spiritual community using a conduit of energy and giving you the ability to receive information in the comfort of your own living room in different levels of spirituality, getting readings, and also with guests coming on. And the 444 added together is a 12, which equals 3, which again is about balancing energies and growing, body, mind, and spirit. So there's methods to our madness on this kind of stuff. So I just want to let you know what that meant. Now, 5 is an energy of change taking place now or very soon. If there's a lot of 5s that pop up in my energy field, I know that I'm about to see change. And, a lot of times people are afraid of change. In fact, change is hard on a lot of people. But the truth is that if we embrace change and we move with it and go with the ebb and flow of how the universe creates changes within us, we have the ability to embrace ourselves at a higher level, because it's in our resistance that things persist. You've all heard that, what we resist persists stuff, and it's actually true, because what happens to a man when he struggles in quicksand? He sinks. If he doesn't struggle, he may stay on the surface and someone will come along with a branch. So that when we resist change, we may sink in it and stay stubbornly in a place within our life cycle that cause us to have patterns that are repetitive patterns that we don't necessarily need to learn that lesson over and over again anymore. So we have to surrender to change and work with it. So that's the 5. Now 6 equals guidance, teachers of truth, the 6-pointed star symbolizing the perfect balance of man, 3 chakras above and 3 chakras below the heart center. Okay, and so that interesting, 3 chakras above, 3 chakras below the heart center. Remember that your heart center is the conduit for understanding the universal flow and the ebb and flow between you and the energy of God. It's at your heart center. It's not with your brain. You do not communicate to spirit through your third eye. You communicate to spirit through your throat chakra, which you communicate with your higher self through your heart chakra and understanding things at a gut reaction. So it's very important to understand how your heart works and to listen and honor your heart. This also means Venus, woman, and love. 6 also means Venus, woman, and love, okay? So it's about the feminine opening of energy, the feminine nurturing energy. So many times counselors, teachers, people who are in the healing arts, people who are working with other people that are caretakers in some form or fashion are number 6s, soul number 6s. 7 means spirituality. It is a mystical number that marks beginnings and endings, and it's about cyclical periods for growth and development. So again, 7 chakras, 7 days to create the world, 7 heavens. Every 7 years is a death and birth cycle. Okay, now when I talk about birth and death cycle, I like to talk about what I call the 4-year rule of life. And it's back to that 444 that means so much to me, because the 444 is actually in numerology considered an angelic number. And as we talked with Courtney Long last week, that's why I told her that I was born at 4:44 a.m. because it has significance to my ability to do medium work energetically. Because once we boil all this down, you guys, you're going to be able to see some of what your numbers mean for your life cycle and all that. We're going to use my name and we're going to use my birth date for teaching purposes, and then you'll plug in your stuff as well. But I think there's a 4-year rule of life. So in the beginning of life and at the end of life, 4 years is huge. So there's a big difference between 0 and 4, 4 and 8, 8 and 12, 12 and 16, 16 and 20, 20 and 24. Then it stops. There's not a big difference between 24 and 28, 28, 32, 32, 36, 36, 40, 40, 44, etc., until you get up to your 60s. And then there's a big difference between 64, 68, 68, 72, 72, 76, and so on. And so it's at the beginning of life, there's a 4 cycle. At the end of life, there's a 4 cycle, where 4 doesn't make much difference at all in the center of life. So interesting how if you watch what numbers mean. So, but obviously we're going to talk here about the 7 years as a death and rebirth cycle. 8 means cosmic consciousness or infinity. And, that infinity sign is how the DNA looks, like an infinity sign. And we talked on Sunday about how scientists have now studied and proven that your DNA is responsive to your emotions, and that people who have emotional maturity and balance are healthier and live longer because the DNA tightens if someone is exposed to negativity or something that is traumatic. 9 is completion, ending of the old, triple trinity. It's the number of electrical energy in all material life on this planet. Now, get this. I find this very interesting, okay, because, we're going to talk, Jesus' name vibrates to a 9, and so does Buddha's, but we're going to talk about this in a minute. So, 9 equals Mars, man, and conflict. All right? So think about 6, I said, is Venus, woman, and love. 9 is Mars, man, and conflict. If you put a 69 together, we all use that as some kind of a sexual idea term or whatever, but actually 6 and 9 equals 15. That equals 6, and what that means is that love and the feminine energy, which is the 2B energy, will always win over the masculine and the Mars energy. It'll always come back to a 6, love over war. And that's, why we need to move into a real energy of love right now on this planet, because of all the war and all the strife and all the divisiveness and all the difficulties that we're having now. We really have to start loving each other and showing it and being more aware of how to love our neighbors and getting back to that way of life in which we help each other. Otherwise, we are going to have a problem on the planet. And so numbers can show us some of that also. But why would Jesus and Buddha's name vibrate out to a 9? Well, we'll talk about that in just a second. So 11 is a master number. It's the power to creatively express dynamic balances of self and a higher expression of the number 2. Remember, number 2 is the masculine and feminine energies balanced in some area of living. Now remember, when we're doing all our spiritual work, we're all talking about energy. Energy, energy, energy. Everything on this planet is about energy. It's all about light, sound, vibrational frequency, energy. It's all about how we understand the energy of these numbers, how we understand the energy in our lives, how we exchange energy with other people, how we exchange energy with the universe, how we balanced our own energy. And so that's why I reminded you when we went back to the number 2 what the Merkaba was. That balance between male and female energies is very important. Okay, let's see. I think I'm going to take these out of here. Really. La 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 la. Okay. Okay, guys. 22 is a master number that talks about the spiritual expression of balance and integration with self and others at a higher level of 4. So remember, 4 is the balance of energies growing in perfect balance. So if you're getting 11, 11, a lot of people see 11, 11 after somebody passes. And I will often say, your loved one is talking to you in synchronized time, 1111, 444, 555. Well, that is the way spirit from the other side can manifest to you a message or an understanding of something. But, a lot of times people just know that the synchronized numbers are meaningful, but they don't know what they mean. Okay, so an 1111 would actually be a 22, which would mean that your loved one was saying that they were integrating into heaven and that they're at their higher level. Okay, all right. So the understanding of how numbers work will help you understand the karma in your life. Now, we've talked a lot about karmic profile. It's my big thing. Karmic profile, karmic profile, karmic profile. And to me, I would prefer to call it a day on this lifetime, meaning I'm not really that excited about coming back to this planet, although I did write Pat McMahon and tell him that if Billy decided to stay in heaven next time, I'd come down and marry him. But other than that, I'm really not interested in staying on the planet here. And I want to get all of my, karmic issues cleaned, cleared, done, taken care of, etc. And that's what we're really here to do, is we're really here to learn, to grow, to understand, to evaluate, to move into a place of pure love, to not be in judgment, but rather discernment, which there's a big difference, to really kind of make an understanding of who we are. So we are going to kind of look at who you are from your name first, and we're going to determine what the name energy means. Now, those of you who have come to me for readings know that I read off of name frequency. That I'm not only an evidential medium, meaning I want the evidence from your loved one to tell me their name and things about them that I would have no way of knowing. But I work off the name frequency anyways because names hold energy. So what I want you to do is I want you to put across your page a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Just put that across your page. Just go up to 8, okay? And, use a piece of paper about this size and put it across like this if you can, please, because we're going to put letters down underneath it, okay? I'll give you a minute to do that. Now, underneath the 1, we're going to use the following letters. So underneath the 1 would be A, I, J, Q, and Y. Underneath the 2 would be B, K, and R. Underneath the 3 would be C, G, L, S. Underneath the 4 would be D, M as in Melinda, and T. Underneath the 5 would be E, H, N as in Nancy, X. Underneath the 6 would be U, V, W. Underneath the 7 would be OZ. Oh, that's interesting. I never noticed that before. I'm using the Chaldean alphabet, you guys. And, I always talk about the Wizard of Oz and how metaphysical it is and how it's something that, we all are looking for is our heart and our brain and, be brave and, all that stuff. And the 7 here on numerology is spirituality, mystical number, marking beginnings and endings. And it says Oz underneath the 7. Isn't that interesting? So, anyway, underneath the 8 is F and P. Okay, now we're going to calculate the name you present to the public most often. So I present Melinda to the public most often, but many of you call me Mindy because it was my childhood nickname. And for those of you who've known me for 20 years or so, you still know me as Mindy. But because of the numerology, because of the way the numbers vibrated, I make sure that I address myself always as Melinda because the numbers are better for the vibrational frequency of my name. So we're going to do first name and last name. So Melinda would be a 4 because the M's under 4, a 5 for the E, a 3 for the L, a 1 for the I, a 5 for the N, a 4 for the D, and a 1 for the A. So that would be Melinda, 4, 5, 3, 1, 5, 4, 1. Okay, so I want you to do that with your first name.
Melinda?
Yes.
Yeah, excuse me, where was the S as in Sam?
The S as in Sam is under 3, Joe.
Number 3. Okay, correct. So number 3 was B as in Bill, K as in Kilo, R as in Robert.
That was number correct? No, that was number 2. Number 3.
I'm sorry.
Number 3 is C as in cookie, G as in Goldie, L as in lion, S as in Sam for number 3.
S as in Sam. Okay, I thought that was F as in Frank.
No.
Okay, very good.
F as in Frank is on number 8. Okay.
Okay, so I thought that was O as in Oscar, Z as in zebra.
That's on 7. O as in Oscar, Z as in zebra is number 7.
Okay.
Okay.
And then number 8 was
F as in Frank and P as in Peter. Right.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. So, you guys, when you look at Melinda, the 4531541, if you add all those numbers up, they become the number 23. So once you add all your numbers up, it should be a double-digit number. And even if it's not, it's okay, because I'm going to show you what to do on it. So 23, you would add the 2 and the 3 together to get a 5. So now we're talking about my dharmic energy. My dharmic energy. Dharma. My karmic energy. Karma. The issues that I've had in my life. So number 5 is change taking place now or very soon. So I've had lots of changes in my life, lots of different challenges and changes in my personal life. That vibrates out to 5. Okay? And then I would do the veil, which would be V as in Victor, and that would be under 6. Okay, A would be under 1. I would be under 1, and L would be under 3 for veil. Okay? And that's a number 11. Okay, so on my name then, frequency, change is part of my karma, and I also with my last name have the master number 11, which means that I have the power to creatively express the dynamic balance of myself, or the higher expression of 2, which means I'm balancing the masculine and female energies in some area of living. So you see how that goes together. The 5 and the 11 goes together for a karma. Now, it ends up that you add the 5 and the 11 together, which makes 16. That's my compound number. And then to simplify that number, I take the 1 plus the 6 and turn it into a simple number 7. And then that tells me that my whole name is about spirituality, a mystical number, marking beginnings and endings, cyclical periods for growth and development, 7 chakras, 7 days to create the world, 7 heavens. And you see, that's exactly what I teach. So my karma is into Dharma. Okay? So I'm going to give you a minute to do your last name and get it into a simple number and add them together. So just take a minute there. And Joe, we're going to give you a different number to call, if you wouldn't mind, so that you can hear on a different phone in case we have callers trying to come in on this one, okay?
Sure, great.
Okay, 480-755-0222. Hang up on this one. Call back on that one. You're still going to hear us. But then if we have other angels that want to call in, we've got it, okay?
Great, Melinda.
Thank you, Joe.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you. We're going to give you a minute, and Joe's going to call that other number. I don't want him to miss anything. And then I'm going to tell you that Billy just did something very interesting with the numerology on this, and that's for you, Lucy, because I think that's pretty awesome. Thank you. So,
hello, Joe.
Because we got Joe?
Yeah, I'm going to put you on speaker so you can hear. Okay.
Yay, we got Joe back. Okay, so everybody doing their first and their last names. We got a caller coming in and maybe a question on what's going on here. And let's see what happens with the caller before I move on. Okay, I'm going to move on. Okay, so note that the 11 and the 22 are master numbers and may not be reduced when added to another number. Okay, not be reduced when added to another number. So you see, I didn't reduce the 11 when I got the 5. When I got the 11 for my last name, I didn't reduce that to a 2 before I added it to 5. I kept it at 11. So make sure if you get a 22 or you 11, you keep it in that way. Now, I just got a little note from Billy for you, Lucy, that he did the word Alzheimer's in numerological terms, and interestingly, Alzheimer's vibrates out to 9, which is complete completion, ending of the old, and it's the number of electrical energy, and that's, I think, exactly what happens in the brain is there's some electrical glitches in the brain that aren't working. So I think that was interesting. Thank you, Billy, on that. And we do have a caller that has a question for us. Did you have that on hold?
I'm going to send it to you right now.
This is Melinda.
Hi, Melinda. Just a quick question.
Sure.
Okay. Debbie, by the way, how are you?
I'm good, Debbie. How are you, honey?
I'm good. When I did my first name,
Mm-hmm.
would I add, it comes up with a 10, so I would add the 1 and the 0 together?
On that one, yes. So it's only the 11 and the 22 that you don't add together. And did you use
Deborah? You don't add together.
Yeah. Did you use Deborah or Debbie? Because you go by Debbie most of the time, don't you, honey?
Yeah, so I use Debbie because that's what I use most of the time now.
Is it I-E or
Deborah's
Y?
my first name.
Is it
I-E.
I-E? Okay, so then we're at, for you, we're at a 9, 10, 14, 19, 1 for your first name, right, sweetheart?
That's what I came up with.
Okay, all right, good. So then that's Creator, God, New Beginnings, Oneness with God, and Unity of Life. So that would help you understand, Debbie, what the karmic connection between your son leaving the planet and you is, because when one loses a child, as we have talked about in the past, your alternative in order to survive is to move into your God and to work with God. So that helps you to understand what that karmic agreement was between you and your child. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
Okay, very good. What did your second, you don't have to give everybody your last name, just tell me what it vibrated out to.
It came out to a 23, which came out to a 5.
5. Okay, so then your 5 is still change taking place, which fits with what your karma was there. And then 6 is guidance, teachers of truth, 3 chakras below, 3 chakras above, Venus, woman, and love, meaning that, again, in losing a child, you have no choice but to be, and to be spiritual. People do one of two things with that loss. They become victims and never are able to work through that, or they do what you've done, sweetheart, which is to really try to embrace spirituality, to recognize that your son is alive on the other side, to continue a relationship with him, to work into your God self, to move into that energy of guidance, and to be a teacher to other people who've may gone through the same thing. So that's your karma dharma. Do you get that, Debbie?
Absolutely, and that's what I've been doing the past few weeks. Actually, I've actually reached out to a couple of other mothers, and I've been working with them to try and pull them through that dark spot that they're in.
Good girl. Good girl. That's your job, okay? And that's what your numbers reflect. Okay, sweetheart?
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you
honey.
so much.
You're welcome. Have a great evening. Thank you for calling as always.
Too.
Okay, bye-bye, honey.
Thank you.
Okay, we have Kathy. You want to transfer her? It's interesting. I know it's a little complicated, you guys, but it's interesting. It's very interesting to do that. This is Melinda. Kathy, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Do you have a question for me tonight?
No, I was just curious about the numbers. I was just wanting to watch, really.
Okay, sweetheart. So you're on the computer?
Yes.
Very good. And you're enjoying yourself?
I am.
And Kathy, do you spell your name with a K or a C?
With a C.
Are you Catherine then?
I am Catherine, but normally I go by Kathy.
Okay, very good. And so for you, Kathy, you would be here just let me do this real quick for you, my friend.
A 5?
Yeah, 3, 4, 8, 9, 14, 5. Yep. So you're working on change too in your lifetime. Okay?
Yes.
And so you've had a lot of challenges in your lifetime too. But you know what?
Yes, I have a husband with hospice.
Yeah, I was just going to say to you, Kathy, you know what? I feel like you're struggling with something right now. I'm very sorry about that, but at the same time, I'm going to say something that I hope doesn't hurt your feelings. There's gifts in this, Kathy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there's gifts that somehow you're giving gifts and you're receiving gifts in this. Okay, and I want you to know that I'm here for you, Kathy. And all of us angels are here for you, and we're all going to give you a prayer right now about your husband being in hospice, and tell you that you've got all of our energy and love directed and flowing to your heart chakra right now. Everyone, please hold energy for Kathy, and that we'll be here for you every step of the way. You keep calling us, okay, Kath?
Yes.
Okay,
thank you.
You're welcome, honey. Thank you for calling tonight, sweetheart. Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, we've got another caller coming through. Let's see who that is. Everybody, please hold space for Kathy. She's just, as you can imagine, we all feel her energy. Jane. Okay, let's transfer Jane. I take a sip of tea. I'm sorry, guys. You know, sometimes when you talk and I did a seminar on Sunday, your voice kind of starts being a weirdo. Huh. Besides the rest of me being a weirdo, my voice is a weirdo right now. Okay. Hi, Jane.
Good evening, my dear. How are you?
I'm well, my friend. How are you?
I am so excited for Wednesdays. I cannot even tell you.
Oh, I'm so glad. That just makes me so happy that you're excited about Wednesdays. We're always excited to talk to you, Jane. Yeah, you've got interesting numerology on Jane. That's an 1155. 1155 for Jane. 1155. That's very interesting numerology, Jane. I don't know how many times the universe is going to tell you that you've got special energy, but I'll keep trying. So that's a 1, 2, 12, 3. So you're a number 3.
Hold on a second.
Okay, I'm holding.
It's a 3 if it's that way, and it's a 4 because it's 11155. If it's with the Y.
Okay, so you do a Y or an A?
I do. There's a Y right in the middle, separating the.
Oh, spell it for me. Jayne.
Yeah, it's not a plain Jane.
Well, baby, we all know that you're not a plain Jane. Okay, so I screwed up on the. I screwed up on the Y is what we're saying to me, right? So that's a 11155. That's even cooler, actually. So that's a 10, 15, 14, 15. So that's a 6. So that's a 6.
No, it's a 4.
5, 10, 11, 12. Oh, it's a 4. Jane, come on over here to my office and teach this damn class, would you?
I'll be right down. Just hold on for me.
That's a 4,
I'm
Jane.
only an hour and 10 minutes away.
Well, at least you're not calling from New York. Debbie would have to get on a plane and fly. Okay, that's a 4, Jane. So that's balance of energies growing in perfect balance, okay? And that resonates with your karma, right?
It does, but then so does 3. I feel like.
Okay, so I think that 3 actually resonates with your energy also. But tell me what the last name vibrates out to.
8.
So then I'm going to say what?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to say that because of the way master numbers work, that probably it's a 4 rather than the 3, even though you and I understand what the 3 means to you, because 8 is a double 4. So that's a 12, and that ends up equaling a 3. So all 3 of them are in there, Jane.
I know. Isn't that amazing?
It's cool. It's cool. And you've got gifts you've got to use, girl.
I'm working on it, and with your help, we're going to get there.
Yeah, we're going to get there.
So now, so one of them is the karma, one of them is the dharma, correct? Or are they all together?
Right, but it's kind of the way I'm doing it tonight on this, because we're going to move into some separation as we progress in the class. I'm going to need another paper, Billy. As we progress on the class, we'll divide that down a little bit, but it's kind of like karma to dharma. In other words, there's karmic energy in your name, there's dharmic energy in your name, because there's karma for you to work through balance of energies and growing in perfect balance, because I know you've had some challenges here and there in your life. There's dharmic energy, that the challenges in your life have moved you into a cosmic consciousness energy, and the 3 is really all about working that body, mind, spirit harmony. So it's a combination of things for the name frequencies, Jane. Okay?
Cool.
All right.
This is awesome.
Thank you for calling, Jane. I will talk to you soon, honey. Bye-bye.
Yeah, and just remember, we're all here in the background, just in case we're quiet. We're just busy.
Okay, sweetheart, I will. but I appreciate the call.
Every Wednesday.
You're welcome, darling.
Alrighty,
Talk to
bye-bye.
you later. Bye-bye. You know, I forgot that Jane had that cool Y in her name. That is a really cool way to spell Jane, actually. Okay, now I want to talk to you about the power of 9, because the power of 9, where the heck did I put my glasses? Here they are. The power of 9 is a really significant energy, actually. And right now I'm kind of skipping a little bit into understanding world energy through numbers, okay? So the name Jesus equals an 18-9. That's a 1 plus 5 plus 3 plus 6 plus 3 equals an 18, and the 1 and the 8 equals a 9. Christ by itself is an 18-9. Jesus Christ together is a 9, an 18, 18, 36, 9. Jesus of Nazareth is a 9. So that's an amazing synchronized vibratory influence in every case. In almost every name in which we had known Jesus Christ, converted to the compound of 1 and 8 and the singular of 9. So it was almost impossible for Jesus to avoid his life destiny, nor did he choose not to. So, again, 1 for Jesus was creator, God, new beginnings. 8, cosmic consciousness, infinity. 9, completion, ending of the old, triple trinity, number of electrical energy in all material life on this planet. Mars, man, and conflict. Now, why would Jesus' name vibrate out to Mars, man, and conflict? Well, the truth is, there are more wars being done in the name of religion, Christianity, and other religions than for any other reason other than land. Okay? So 9 represents triple trinity and its completion. It's considered the king of numbers. And Scripture tells us that 666 is the number of man and beast. Thus, beast, man, and Jesus all vibrate out to the number 9. 666 is 12 plus 6 is 18 equals a 9. Okay, so really what the book of Revelations was talking about with the mark of the beast was that it's a completion cycle. It's a completion cycle. Now, if you want me to go and get way out there, by the way, speaking of getting way out there, it's not really way out there, but I am going to be on a radio show with John Burroughs coming up, and he's got to give me the exacts on that, but that's in April too. And John Burroughs was the man that was abducted in 1973 from the Air Force abduction case in England. You have to Google John Burroughs and my name together and you'll see me on an Ancient Aliens television show hypnotizing him. It's very interesting. But if we really wanted to get weird, we might talk about some of the ufology that's kind of indicated in the Bible and maybe even the book of Revelations. But I'm not saying I believe it. I'm just saying I can explain it. Okay, so this all vibrates out to 9 for completion, so maybe 666 really means that we're completing some kind of karmic cycle on the planet. Remember fractal time, Greg Braden's material is all about repetitive energy, understanding how energy repeats itself, whether it's in your lifetime or whether it's throughout history. There's always these fractals of energy. And I often say I got triggered back. So I'm triggered back to another fractal of time, something that hurt me in the past. I may get triggered back. And we all get triggered back, actually. But the thing of it is what we do with that trigger back that counts. So 9 is a very important number because it's a completion energy. And when it adds to 1, which is the power of the Creator and God, it goes into the next level. So 99 plus 1 is 100 and so on and so forth. So moving into the next level. The number 9 uniquely closes to itself. In other words, it completes when multiplied by any other number. Okay? What I mean by that, 3 times 9 equals 27, 2 plus 7 equals 9. 7 times 9 is 63, 6 plus 3 equals 9. 15 times 9 is 135, 1 plus 3 plus 5 equals 9. Now, I'm not a numbers geek, you guys, although I was insulted when I was in high school because my high school math teacher called my mother up and told her that I was the best girl math student he ever had. But I really am not a numbers person. He actually was a baseball coach and didn't really do a very good job of teaching numbers. That's why I was the best girl student he ever had. So just kind of follow with me and enjoy it. Okay, you don't have to be a math whiz. The number 9 uniquely gives birth and creates the single-digit number it is added to. In other words, 9 plus 1 equals 10, 1 plus 0 equals 1. 9 plus 4 equals 13, 3 plus 1 equals 4. 9 plus 7 equals 16, 6 plus 1 equals 7. So that's the uniqueness of the number 9. So that, is a vibration that always means something to me. When I look at the number 9, it always means something to me. Okay? So in relationships, 9 symbolizes Mars, man, and conflict. 9 is the inverse of 6, as 6 is the inverse of 9, and that equals Venus, woman, and love. 6 and 9 beside each other symbolizes the union, representing parenthood. Conflict versus love, 69, and love wins over conflict. 6 plus 9 is 15 equals 6. Are we good so far? Everybody's okay? Okay? I know this is a little bit complicated, but I think you're getting it from the phone calls, okay? Okay. So there are 2 ways of calculating your birth numbers. Now we're going to go into birth dates. We just did names. Okay, now we're going to go into birth dates. Now the birth dates are where this book, The Life You Were Born to Live, comes into play. Okay, and again, when I'm doing readings, I'm a very simple numerologist, meaning I just do a quick birth date, add it up, get a number, and it helps me to drop into the pocket of somebody's personality profile. Some people use tarot cards. Some people use angel cards like Courtney did. Some people use straight numerology. Some people use astrology. I use numbers and name frequencies, and that helps me to get into the vibrational frequency. Okay? So we're going to, again, use my birth date. And we're going to talk about the secondary set of numbers that can be calculated from the entire birth date. And sometimes the secondary method gives a milder subliminal influence. And sometimes it will amazingly intensify the influences of the priority key numbers of the date of birth. So in other words, I was born on August 28, 1954, 8/28/54. So my priority compound key number would be the 28, the day I was born, and that equals a 1. 2 plus 8 is 10 equals a 1. My secondary compound number is a 10. In other words, August is 8/28/54, and you have to put the 19, and if somebody is listening to us that was born in the 20, there's people born 2020. Are there people that young listening? I can't even say it. I can't even imagine it. Use the whole birth date. Okay. So Elliot, my grandson, was born on February 3rd, so he was 2/3/2009. So he'd use the 2009 on that. So you add those up. All of those together equals a number 1 for me. So you notice that my date number is 1, but my whole name is also a 1. So in this book, The Life That You Were Born to Live, he actually has it as a 2810, and he talks about understanding life purpose, understanding the positive parts of working in that energy and the negative, what the health issues may be, how relationships work, okay? So, for example, a major issue for 2810s is trapped unexpressed emotions, especially anger, which they tend to hold onto and intellectualize, okay? And they can often become aloof rather than passionate, and they can have stored negativity. So when I was a kid, I was so ticked off all the time that it was ridiculous. It took me a long time to get through being angry all the time. In my 20s and in my 30s, I was angry all the time. So I was working in the negative. And so when you're looking at those numbers, you'll understand what your birth date means in reference to how your personality profile works too. So look at that. It would be, I can't go over the whole book with you guys because it's too much. I can go over the alphabet with you, but you can calculate that and then pick up the book and understand what your numbers are, or you can certainly give me a holler and I'll help you understand something if that's important to you. Okay. Now, on the book of Revelations, the 144, representing the 144,000 children of the 12 tribes, sealed as servants of God prior to the opening of the seventh seal, equal, guess what? 9. 9. It all vibrates out to a 9. So when you're really trying to understand the Bible, if you can understand it from a numbers perspective, it will help you understand Revelations, okay? So, Revelations, the prophecy of Jesus Christ, 9, bringing completion to the cycle started with Adam, 1, ascending to the Adam Cadman, 5, the fifth dimension, not a musical group from when we were kids, when I was a kid, but the fifth dimensional, which is vibrating dimensionally to a 7, or to the seventh heaven. In other words, in our lifetime, we are moving through a vibrational frequency that was predicted years ago in the Bible. And while we are living through that, we have an opportunity at a deep soul level to manage it in a way in which we do not destroy the earth, but rather move the earth up to another level of energy. Here's the deal. There's no such thing as death. So if we destroyed the earth, we'd all come back. But guess what? We'd all come tumbling back right to the beginning again and have to do it all over again. And that's karma. Okay? So let's talk about number 11 and the significance of the 11. So you know that we had an attack on this country, 9/11. That was 9 plus 1 plus 1 equals 11. September 11th is the 254th day of the year. That's 2 plus 5 plus 4 equals 11. The emergency number of America is 9/11, which is 9 plus 1 plus 1 equals 11. After September 11th, there were 111 days left to the end of the year. The Twin Towers standing side by side represented an 11. The first plane to hit the tower was Flight 11. The state of New York is the 11th state added to the Union. New York City has 11 letters. The Pentagon has 11 letters. Afghanistan has 11 letters. Razmi Youssef has 11 letters. He was the one that was convicted of orchestrating the attack on the World Trade Center in 1993. Flight 11, there were 92 people on board. That's an 11. Flight 77, there were 65 people on board, and that's an 11. And last but not least, George W. Bush has 11 letters. So just a little bit about, the beginning of some of the issues that we're facing in today's world through numerology. And I'm not giving you these numbers or trying to be scary or pessimistic at all. I'm just trying to get you to see synchronicity and understand that when you understand numbers and the synchronized energy of the numbers, both at your own level through your name and your birth date, and at other levels as you watch the universe speak to you, because again, it's a numbers universe, there are all kinds of information that we can use there. So going back here to where we talked about this, understanding that the 11 is a master number, and it's the higher expression of ourself, or the dynamic balance of self. So what was supposed to happen? During the September 11th attacks, we were supposed to find more balance. Now, it's up to you guys to discern whether you think that we found more balance or we didn't since then. I personally think that we're going to have another fractal of time coming up with this thing. But, again, holding energy, holding love energy is going to help significantly. Now, let's talk about the numbers on the planets or of the planets. Okay, let's talk about that. So you guys, I know I'm throwing 10 pounds of shit into a 5-pound bag tonight. I really do know that, okay? And it's very hard to just like teach this in this manner. And you're going to have to do some of your own work. Again, the book to get is The Life You Were Born to Live by Dan Millman. And hopefully what I have verbalized here today will help you to discern what you're reading. And then we are sending this information to you tomorrow. Are we sending it tomorrow, Bill?
Yes.
We're sending this information. Amadeus is sending this information tomorrow. You know, interestingly, you guys know that Amadeus uses his pen name because he actually works with a bunch of lawyers in Texas, and in Texas they know him as Bill. And then he wrote a spiritual book, which I would love it to him to do some work on that. You guys need to chime in and see, send me some emails and tell him that you'd like to hear him, talk about his spiritual book. Maybe he'd have a class in here. But anyways, and he also designs jewelry beautifully. He's got a nice balance between his left brain and his right brain. And I'm not just saying that because I like him. It's true. And so he uses his creative name some. I call him Bill because I have my own reasons for that. But he would look and see which name vibrated out the best for success for him and decide to choose that name for whatever. So it's just interesting. So you got it, Bill?
Oh, no, I don't have that. I have that.
Well, you have to use the 19 in front of it.
Oh.
So Bill was born on 11/11/1956. So the 10 and the 56 would be 11. So he has a triple 11 in his date of birth. So he's got a triple whammy on some of his vibration as far as the balance of his higher self and his creativity, etc., which is why I want him to look at the name frequency. So let's look at the numbers on the planets, okay? So numerology and astrology are undoubtedly closely linked, although no one really knows quite when numbers were allotted to planets, which controls our system. Certainly the Chaldeans and the Hindus and the Egyptians and the Hebrews all used and adopted the idea of linking a planet with a number to represent its characteristics. So keep on your numbers because you all had your numbers ready there. So again, 1 is the number of the sun. In astrology, the sun governs spirit, will, energy, vitality, wholeness, self-integration, rulership, organization, and power. And it also represents the will to live. So again, my name, my birth date vibrated out to a 1, so the sun would be the energy that I would be using on that. Number 2 is the moon. The moon governs the feminine essence, the unconscious, feelings, emotions, rhythm, instinctual responses, reflection, passivity, the soul, motherliness, the family, heredity. It also represents changeability. Okay, so if you have 2, you're working with moon energy. 3 is Jupiter. Jupiter represents the ability to expand through growth and also by understanding. What did my stepchildren used to say? Girls go to college to get more knowledge. Boys go to Jupiter just to get stupider. That's what they used to say. They were little girls, 8 and 10. Number 4 is Uranus, which governs eccentricity, invention, independence, intuition, mobility, peculiarity, impulsiveness, and drastic change, interestingly. Number 5 is Mercury. The planet Mercury is associated with intellect, communication, mental and nervous processes, dexterity, ambiguity, writing, and diplomacy. Negativity indicates untruthfulness, unreliability, and weakness of mental processes. Okay, so they gave duality with Mercury on that. They gave duality with that. Number 6 is Venus. And Venus governs love and harmony, artistry and the feminine, sexuality, attractions, affection, physical beauty, and art. Number 7 is Neptune, and that is associated with psychic activity, mediumship. And you remember that my name totally vibrated out to 7, so I'm Neptune from my name frequency. Neptune is associated with psychic activity, mediumship, dreams, fantasies, illusion, extreme sensitivity, drug states, alcoholism, refinement, and the immaterial world. I want to stop for a minute there because I talk to a lot of people in today's world whose kids have had addiction to particularly heroin and drugs, but heroin runs rampant. And I wonder to myself that maybe some of these kids are really psychic and, move in and out of dimensional frequencies and, that kind of thing. And that they use just so that they can quiet all that down. And I'm hoping that we can be more open to people being able to be super sensitive and understand things and look into different realms and, work with that without labeling them as Fruit Loopers and Windchimers or Cuckoo Birds or whatever. Number 8 is Saturn. Saturn governs melancholy, reserve, limitation, seriousness, economy, authority, and the ability to accept and work with the limitations of life. Number 9 is Mars, okay, and that's, always been, connected with war, especially in mythology. It indicates the ability to accept and work with prevailing circumstances and the desire for change, which produces conflict. Okay, so you can kind of look at how that works. I gotta find, if anybody knows an astrologer that would like to talk to us as angels, I would love that. If you all know somebody that does astrology and, can explain some of that to us, because I really don't know. James Van Praagh always asks for, your birth sign and so on, or he always asks for something with your birth date, and he looks at that energy all the time. But I don't do that. I think that would be a fun class, don't you guys? We've got some really good things coming up on our lineup, but that would be one that we're going to have to investigate. Okay, so I want you to understand that there's kind of a hexagon of energy, which is the magical order of the 7 sacred planets, okay? And that will be able to help align energy with the stars, with the numbers, okay? Okay, so life begins from the sun, which is a very positive masculine planet, and then proceeds on to the moon with the feminine influences. And from the moon, the path travels on to Mars, where the masculine and feminine influences may experience conflict. Mercury provides communication and the opportunity to live intelligently and harmoniously. The next planet in the story, Jupiter, brings growth through a greater understanding of life, and by the time the path reaches Venus, love and affection becomes present. From Venus to Saturn is the journey through old age to death itself, when the soul returns to the sun to begin another cycle. So that's what that pentagon and the patterns of the energy of the planets mean, okay? Okay. So I'm going to give you some other alphabet energy with some other numbers that you can look at for yourself if you want to. The ancient people believed that the soul enters the body upon the vibrational frequency of the first vowel for the name. So again, understanding the first vowel of the name, if we put across the page 1 through 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then under 1 would be A, J, S, under 2 would be B, K, T, under 3 would be C, L, U, under 4 would be D, M, V, under 5 would be E, N, W, under 6 would be Fox, F, O, X, under 7 would be G, P, Y, under 8 would be H, Q, Z, and under 9 would be I, R. So with that alphabet, you take the first number of your name, mine being M, would be a 4 for that. And that would be the vibrational frequency that the ancients believed that my soul entered my body. Okay, so we also have different characteristics of the alphabet, which I'm not going to go over with you, but I am going to send to you so that you have it. okay, so that you can look more into your name and what it means. Again, you come to me for reading and you walk away with a page of names, and this is why, because of understanding that frequency of energy, okay? Okay, so I think that's good. We have a caller through, and no, I thought I heard the phone ring. I'm sorry, we don't have a caller through. Okay. So I think that through understanding numbers and numerology, you'll get a better idea of your karma and your dharmic number and work through that energy so that you know who you are and how your vibrational frequency has followed around your karmic path and through your dharmic path. Okay, excuse me for a second. So once you understand how to do the numerology, what you can do is when you get somebody else's birthday, if you just jump into the Life You Were Born to Live book, you can kind of look at their birth dates as well. The other thing about this book that I really, really like is that he talks in the back of the book about different laws that he believes are laws to live by. You know, everybody has the law of this and the law of that. But I like his, and I think that they're really good ones, and that you would really like them because he explains them really quite well. Okay, and then he talks about the rhythms and the energies of relationships and in reference to different people. So, you know, like he gives some famous partners, Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz, you know, that kind of thing, and talks about that. So, do we have another phone call?
Yes.
Okay.
Hold on.
Ready? Hi.
Good evening.
Hi, is it Jane?
Quick question.
Hi, Jane.
It is. How are you?
Good. I recognized your voice, Jen. He did it. I didn't hear him say anything. You know,
No
I
worries.
can't find my hearing aids anywhere. They're home somewhere. I can't find my hearing aids anywhere. You know, people call me all the time and ask me to find objects in their house, and I mentally put my head around it. I found money. I found rings. I found all kinds of things. I can't find my damn hearing aids in my own house. Go ahead, Jane.
Well, I'm going to change my question now. Since you said you can find money. We're trying to do to find money for me.
What's up, kid?
Okay, so I've taken numerology classes, and I'm curious why that book as opposed to the, 200 other ones that may be out there. What attracted you?
Simple.
Or what do you like best about that one?
It's simple. Now, if you like Linda Goodman's book, Star Signs is a very good one also, and some of the material I took was from that. But the reason I like Dan's book is because it's just very simple. It's easy to thumb your way through. It gives you really good information about what the numbers mean in reference to your personality profile. It shows you who you are in the positive and in the negative. And you know me, Jane, I'm all about how duality works within us. I never want to hide from my own duality. I put my shadow side out for everybody to see. We all need to do that so that we can work through our shadows. And he talks about the negative and the positive aspects, shadow and positive side. I like the fact that at the end of the each chapter, he kind of tells you who was famous that has some of the same numerology as you, which I kind of get a kick out of that, He talks about what guidelines and recommendations to do. He gives you questions to answer to kind of ponder who you are with it. It's really very thought-provoking, and it's simple. That's why I choose that one. What did you study out of, Jane?
A few of them. One, my first one was Michelle Buchanan, and I felt hers was really simple. And she also did the duality. She also said, if you live in a house and the numbers resonate, we'll just say to an 8, and you want to change that to say maybe a 3 or, whatever one maybe you want to do, creativity, or you're having a party, that you could just get the number, we'll just say if you want to go from an 8 to a 3. So you would do the difference to get you to a 3 and put that number on the inside of your house. And so then, in essence, you've changed the number of your house, of course, not on your mailbox, or you can put it in your mailbox. you're not physically changing your home. You're changing the frequency that you're bringing into it.
So she brought some feng shui stuff into it in that regard.
She did. She did a lot of fun stuff.
Yeah.
And again, I felt that was easy. Then I went to Hans Deco's, and he had a lot of fun stuff. I haven't heard of Dan's book there. I'll look into it. And then I did a class with Glennis. Hers was a little different. So I was just more wondering why you chose that one.
Well, it would
because I've never heard of it.
It would be really great, honey, if you would write some of those books down and send them to me, and we'll add them to send out to the angels, because if this is a subject that interests everybody, then certainly I'm to give them as much material as possible. The other one that I like is Star Signs by Linda Goodman, and some of this material is from that. So would you mind just, sending them to me in an email, and we'll send them out to everybody? Because I honestly think that this is a fascinating subject, really, especially when you go over like the 9/11 stuff and the 9 vibrational for Christ and, Book of Revelations and all that stuff. To me, that's really cool. What was that one book? I can't remember. It came out maybe 12, 15 years ago. Bible Code was what it was called. Remember that book, The Bible Code? Did you read that one, Jane?
I remember, but no, I did not read it.
Bible
but
Code,
speaking
everybody.
Of numbers, you have 11 letters in Melinda Vail, just in case you.
Thank you, darling. Thank you, darling. Bible Code was a very interesting book about understanding how numerology kind of broke the code of what the Bible really says. It was a fascinating book. So everybody, if you're interested in that, and you're interested in Revelations and how the Bible works and stuff, that's a really good book. I can't remember the author of that though, but yeah, I think this is a really fascinating subject. I really do. I think it's cool and awesome. Remember, in the beginning of getting together with angels, I always said to everybody that I've been in this business for 25 years, and I know just a little bit about everything, just enough to be dangerous. But I'm not
enough tools to get you into trouble, not enough to get you
That's
out.
right. I'm certainly not an expert in any field, although, I know everybody wrote to me how much they love the 7 major religions class, and, things pop out of my mouth unexpectedly. Certainly everybody knows that. So, but thank you for that input, and if you wouldn't mind sending those books to us, we will definitely pass them on.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you so much, Jay.
Thank you.
Yeah, talk to you next week. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so it looks like we missed a call, and I'm going to call back. This thing slides. What? What did you do? What are you giving me? I'm reading.
Push speaker.
Why am I pushing speaker?
That way you can dial it.
Why am I dialing the old number that we have?
No. Tell her to call that number.
Oh, well, then why didn't you tell me that, Billy? Jeez! Marianne, we missed your call. The way I read that was he was having me call, and then I'm looking at the number going, wait a minute, that's our number. Marianne, we missed your call. Call back. And we will be happy to answer your question. Suicide survivor. I don't know if this is the same Marianne. Is it? Maybe? I don't know. We have an angel, and she is working with suicide survivor, and has asked me to participate in a event that she's going to put on for suicide survivor again in the fall sometime. And again, all proceeds and everything goes to the suicide survivor organization. And this time we're going to do a night of readings and then a whole day workshop with her, who has been a survivor of suicide, and a wonderful, beautiful young woman who is a grief counselor and specializes in suicide, and myself, and we're going to do a wonderful event coming up. So watch for that too, because it's not one that I had on here because we haven't really pulled it together yet. So when that gets pulled together, we'll let you know. So again, on April 19th, we'll be at Storm Wisdom at 7, and that is going to be fun. There are 30 seats available. Call Storm Wisdom in order to get seats. On April 27th, 28th, and 29th, Vegas, which we're going to do an evening of readings and then some privates. Thursday, May 4th, here in my gym at the Empowered Living Center, I will be doing a night of readings, and get up on the website tomorrow to get tickets for that. Last week in June, we'll be in California, so tell your friends to call for privates. We're not doing anything as far as a group there. September 11th through 16th in Minnesota as privates. I'm not doing anything as a group there. November 17th and 18th, James and I will be back together again at the Mauna Lucia, and we'll be doing a night of readings and then a day seminar. Last year, I taught karmic profile, but this year I'm going to talk about understanding what life purpose really means, which is very, very misunderstood. Watch for the newsletter that's coming out. I think Tuesday it comes out. And make sure that you make all your arrangements for next week's reading. Send me lots and lots of questions. If you can't get through to me, I will answer questions from an email, even if they're psychic questions. So make sure that next week is just readings. I think we're doing a night of readings next week, right? And some more people on our lineup besides Charles at Storm Wisdom is I have a wonderful gentleman that has agreed to be part of our Angel Knight who lost his wife, and he is in a book and talking in this book about the difference between male grief and female grief. So he'll be great. I have some people who have lost a child while he was texting and driving that would like to talk with us a little bit about their loss and what that has meant for them and what they're trying to do to prevent us from texting in our cars. And I have some additional suicide survivors. So anyway, I got to share something very exciting to you. And I hope you all will hold space for me, because I had a little call I had an email from a woman from Holland. And she is here in the States doing a book about the most inspirational women in the world. And it's a book where they're going to do pictures and a write-up. And she is asked to come interview me to be one of the most inspirational women in the world. So I'm I'm really excited about it. First thing I did was email my daughter. I'm very excited about that. That's really an honor. I mean, holy cow, that's really an honor. So hold space for me on Friday. I went out and bought 3 tops tonight. I don't know which one to wear because I talked to my friend who's a photographer, and he told me to not wear this, not wear that, not do this and not do that, but whatever. So anyways, hold space for me on Friday afternoon for that. So I think that's quite a compliment. So it looks like we are just about to say goodnight here, and I thank you for joining me tonight. And Billy, do you have anything to say to everybody tonight? Did you enjoy your numerology?
Well, yes, I did. And one of the things that, one of the philosophers I read as a younger man many, many moons ago was a French philosopher and mathematician Descartes. And his entire take on the universe was everything revolves around numbers.
Mm-hmm.
All the prior philosophers for their stories, it's great. You have to reduce everything to mathematics.
Mm-hmm.
Period. I'm going to catch this.
You want to catch the phone? It's interesting because the understanding of numbers
Hello.
can go very deep, and I think we have a call coming in. Are we? We'll be missing somebody's trying to reach us, and we've had some difficulty connecting in. Somebody got the numbers wrong. And with that, I'm going to say goodnight because somebody got the numbers wrong. That is hilarious, you guys. Synchronicity in the universe. Somebody called with the wrong number to say goodnight. So thank you, as always, for joining me, everybody, and I will talk to you next week. Have your psychic questions ready for me, please. Don't forget that if you just want some kind of a psychic reading and you want to include a picture in your email, I'll read off the photograph as you include it, okay? All right. Good night, everybody. Good night, Billy.
Good night, Chris.